me quickly go back to Abuja now. Let me ask Professor. Professor, the status of your work at the moment, when are you expected to deliver anything to the president, and what are you looking to deliver to the president? Because it sounds like you have a very clear position on what you believe the people of Nigeria are saying to your committee.
Right now, I can't give you any precise time in terms of that one. What I'll tell you is how far we have gone. We have gotten a general opinion through memoranda and presentations throughout the country. We are working on them, analyzing them, and compartmentalizing them. What I want you to know is that contrary to the views that the focus should be on some areas that you have mentioned earlier, what are you going to look at properly is the difference between the cause and the effect. The whole thing you have enumerated, you had in across in Sokoto, anywhere during the forum, and whatever, so many of them are effects. You have to go for the cause. The cause is a good and a well-balanced structure and institutionalization that limits the authority and the power or privilege of many people to act with the impunity that you are talking about. Indeed, there is too much contradiction in Nigeria. There is no single policy that will solve all problems like magic. What is important is that we reduce the level of the disintegrative factors within Nigerian society. Okay. Among them is the structure. It causes a lot of conflict, and unless we can contain these conflicts, we will never have stability and we will never have peace. If you don't have peace, you cannot have development. So we have to get down to the fundamentals. Okay. We didn't discover, we're not discovering the wheel. Many countries have gone through the process we are embarked upon. Okay. If you remember, excuse me, if you remember, we are going through the process of civilianization of Nigeria after many years of militarization and military regime. The country is going through a process, and that process includes fine-tuning areas where our institutions must be fine-tuned in order to have peaceful coexistence in Nigeria. Those factors, luckily for us, are the areas many Nigerians across the country are focusing. Okay, and we are articulating them, and we will very soon let the country know how far and when it will be completed. But that will be the job of the whole committee, particularly our chairman, not my own. Okay, so far, I will tell you, so far, so good. And what is more interesting for me and the committee members is the enthusiasm with which Nigerians have welcomed it. Any politician can have his view. That's why we have a democracy. And many politicians, you don't expect them to have the same view on anything. In fact, in some places, if there's no conflict, a politician will create one for himself and others. Okay. So what we are talking about is what is good for the country. Okay. Ideally and in general, and for majority of Nigerians. Right. As of today, from east and west, north and south, the dialogue and national conference is very popular. You will see it and for yourself. Ask ordinary Nigerians, leave the politicians alone for a while. They will always have conflicts among themselves. It is natural and endemic for them. They will never have peace among themselves on every topic. In fact, part of the problem of Nigeria, I must state today, is that we lack consensus on any critical national issue, and we must learn to institutionalize some issues.
Okay, Prof. We don't have a lot of time, so we will need for you to help us keep the answers very short so that we can manage our time properly. But one quick question for you before a second one. I'll tell you the second one first, which is the structure that you hear people want to have as far as this national conference is concerned. But before you answer that, I need you to tell us, you haven't answered my previous question, your time scale for delivery to the president. There is some concern in some quarters that this discussion will drag on before we get to the real discussion. What is your time scale? You said you can't give us, or can you give us a time scale?
A time scale for what?
For delivering what you have done. You've been on this for 4 or 5 weeks now. You've traveled from Sokoto to Kano to Kaduna to Jos, you said, and went all the way to Minna and back to Lagos. You said all that. You've been around the country. When are you presenting a document to the president that says, this is our finding, which should guide what the national conference should be about? When are you doing that?
In fact, I cannot speak on that precise time because I'm not the chairman.
Oh, you're saying that all of
that kind of precision is left for the leadership of the committee, not for me.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
that's fine.
But you had a timeline given by the president. Are you
Yes, we are working on that timeline.
Are you 5 weeks into it, 6 weeks into it? You must know when you started.
We are working on the timeline given to us, yes.
Okay, what's the timeline the president has given you, and when is it supposed to expire?
I am telling you, those precise question answers should come from chairman, not me. Okay, but we are working within the precise time given to us. Okay, so time is not of a problem here.
Okay, Prof, let's move on to the issue of national conference, the structure that people are yearning for. A lot of people have come up with this idea that it should be geopolitical zone that determines the structure and representation. What is it that you are hearing? Because it's one thing for us to have analysts come on channels television and tell us what they think. What are Nigerians telling you?
Nigerians are telling us everything now. Everything I've just said, everything you have heard is what they're telling us. But we as a committee, we are articulating them, putting them in order, so I cannot tell you which one is what. But generally, people are talking about how to have a stable government in Nigeria, a good structure, and that is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Some of the precise things you want to know, you wait until our report is out.
Okay. Well, that's not a lot of help, but there's been reactions in some quarters against Professor Ben Wabweze's attempt to write a new constitution. How do you react to that? What's your thought on that one?
Unfortunately, our job is not to write a constitution. Our job is to find out how Nigerians feel about the country and what should be done.
Okay, thank you very much.
Professor Wabweze, ask him if he wants to write constitution.
Okay, all right, Prof. Thank you very much.